Hey everybody, Kevin McFarland here from the Art of Emergency Nursing, and welcome to the show. I appreciate you listening to the podcast. If you haven't done so already, please take a couple minutes and leave a rating and review on either iTunes or whatever system you use to listen to podcasts. And if you're watching this video on YouTube, yes, we're doing a video on YouTube for this episode as well. If you are watching this video on YouTube, please leave a comment. Definitely subscribe to our channel, and that way you can follow us in the future. So I have a great treat for you guys here today. This episode is going to be really for my nursing students. My nursing students are probably going to get the most out of this, but nurses, you may be getting asked the same questions I was getting asked. I was getting asked about a brand new program through the BCEN called the EDvantage program. The EDvantage program is a program that gets nurses in nursing school ready to be ER nurses. And it came from the BCEN, and they are running this program that is going to get nurses ready to apply and ready to stand out when they apply for a position in the emergency department. I am super excited about this program, and I am super excited about my guest this week. This week, I got a chance to sit down with Janie Schumaker, who is the executive director of the BCEN, and she was able to answer all my questions about the EDvantage program. It is super cool. If you know people who are looking for a job in the emergency department or finishing up nursing school and planning to go the ER nurse route, they have to check out this program. It is an incredible value, and it's going to give you a lot of bang for your buck. So that's what this episode's all about. We're going to have a quick episode all about the EDvantage program. So I hope you enjoyed this episode with my friend Janie Schumaker. So let me start this by saying when the EDvantage program came out, I had probably 5 or 6 people email me and say, "Hey, what do you know about this?" And I was like, "I don't know anything about this."
Yeah.
I said, "So I'm going to have to find out a little bit about it and find out how it works and a little bit about it, and share like what is the why would a nursing student want to start preparing for a career in the EC, and how does this make them stand out?"
Okay. Well, so glad you asked. So BCEN is pretty involved with the National Student Nurses Association. We go to their conference. We provide scholarships for nursing students every year, about $35,000 a year.
Wow.
And we have gotten to know a lot of students, and we've interacted with hundreds of students at the conference and just in our day-to-day. People will call and talk to us, et cetera. And so one of the questions we have been asked for years is, how do I get a job in the emergency department? You guys have emergency nursing in your title, so you surely must know something about how can I get a job? And as a nurse leader for many years, I hired nurses into the emergency department. And of course, everybody wants to hire an experienced nurse who's got great interpersonal skills and is already certified, and those are not falling off the trees. So we end up hiring new graduates or nurses that are transferring from somewhere else, and that's great too. So we put this program together to give people who want to get into the nurses who want to get into the emergency department a leg up on the competition. Because I can remember myself in an ER having 2 positions open and having 12 applicants that want the job, because the emergency department is oftentimes highly sought after. And so what sets you apart? We think the EDvantage program sets you apart. So it's got some requirements that you fulfill. Many of them are going to be required of you anyway once you get hired into the emergency department, like the NIH stroke scale, Emergency Nurses Association's ESI course is one of the requirements. Stop the bleed. There's some essays that you write. And when you finish the program, you get a certificate from us that says you did. You get a digital badge. We send you a nice leather portfolio, and you can put all your achievements in this portfolio, and you can go to the interview and you can talk about how you are the dedicated, motivated person who did this extra thing. And that's why you are the best candidate to hire. You have already done some of the pre-work. And some of the essays, a couple of the essays we ask you to write, you have to identify an operational issue that affects the emergency department. And how do you mitigate for that? What do you do about it? So you come with, like, maybe, patient flow is a problem. And so how do you solve for patient flow? What are some things you can do? And then we also ask you to tell us about a clinical experience that you've had with a patient that impacted you, kind of like the question you asked me earlier. And we've just read some exceptional essays. So that gives you things to talk about in your interview. And you can pull these documents out and show them to the person interviewing you. And the program is just launched. It's very early, but we think it's really going to help set people apart for that competition.
That's super cool.
Yeah, we're pretty excited about it. We've got over 400 applicants working on their Advantage program right now.
Holy cow. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of future ER nurses right there.
And that's the whole idea. We want to invest in the future of emergency nursing. We want to help. We want people to get their dream job, and we want a strong emergency nursing workforce.
And what a cool thing to be able to say, like, I already got something with your certifications, your certification body's name on it. Like, I'm already interacting with them.
Exactly.
Because it's got to make me think like they're going to be your first nurse who's trying to get their CEN.
Yeah, well, the third essay, I'd be remiss not to mention, you have to tell us what you've learned about specialty nursing certification and why it is or is not important. So
has anyone said it's not important?
Not yet. Not yet.
I would think not, but just wondering. I'm sitting there going, who would say that? But
the other cool thing about Advantage is we ask them to demonstrate their membership in a professional association. So whether, if they're a student, they can be with the Student Nurses Association, they can join ENA as a student or some of these others. And we ask them to demonstrate, where they've attended a meeting or have had some kind of active participation. Because we do believe that the certification and being active in your professional organizations kind of go hand in hand. So that's another kind of neat part of it. So gets them engaged in that professional association early, so they can see the value of that as well.
That's really cool. Well, and again, like those are all things that if you're a nursing student and you want to stand out. So just for some context, we have a nursing residency program in Houston, and there's probably half a dozen or so, probably more than that, nursing residencies. We had 700 applicants for our residency.
Wow.
700 applicants for our residency. And then we had to narrow that down to make it manageable for the hiring directors. We had to narrow that down to like we're still narrowing, but we had to narrow it down to like 250, which is still a huge number of people to try to then even cull down a little bit more to get the dozen or so folks that are going to go before the hiring managers, all the different hiring managers, and with the possibility of getting a job. So what a cool way to be able to kind of cull that herd and kind of get it. That's exciting.
Yeah, we're excited about it. We're excited. We just launched it at the end of May, so we're excited to see 400 people in it already.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now I'm looking at the courses. I'm looking at the coursework that's on there. And you have like the ESI, you have FEMA 100, FEMA 100 and 700. Now, I know ESI, or I know the FEMA courses and NI stroke scale. I know those are free. Is there a cost for the ESI pediatric course?
There is a cost for the ESI through the ENA. That's when you're asking about?
Yeah.
They charge about $35 for it. It's not huge.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Our application fee is only $50. That doesn't really cover our cost too much. This is not a big revenue stream for BCEN. This is truly more about investing in the future and helping people
love that.
solve a problem. I
love that.
More competitive so I can get my dream job.
I love that. Oh,
I think they're in for less than $100.
That's not bad. Like $100 to stand out and get stuff that you're gonna have to do anyway.
Right.
That's really cool. That's really cool. I like this. This is great. What a cool thing to be able to do.
Yeah, we're excited about it.
And what are you doing to keep them engaged? Like, so how long are they, how long are they, is there an anticipated time that they're involved in this? Is there an anticipated time for completion?
Yeah, we give them 12 months to complete it. We've had some people complete it obviously sooner than that because we just launched it at the end of May. But they have 12 full months to complete it. And if you're a student, and let's just say you graduate in May, we do know that you start interviewing in February or March. So you'd want to have it completed by the time you go to interview so that you can talk to the person interviewing you about what you've accomplished here. And it should also be on your resume. The digital badge ought to be on your LinkedIn profile, on your email signature to show that you've done this. And people can click on your digital badge and they can learn more about the program and see what you had to do to meet the requirements. So 12 months, they have 12 months. If they don't finish it in 12 months, their application expires and they have to start over. But they don't have any money out because you don't pay for it until you upload all of your proof of all your completion activities, and then you pay for it then. So there's no money up front.
That's, that's incredible. That's
Yeah.
super cool. So there's no money up front, but like, so I guess I'm just kind of curious at like the pipeline. So do you sign up and then start working on these things, or can you start working on these things and then sign up, or?
You can do it either way. We see people come in and start an application under the EDvantage program. Sometimes they'll have, like one of the basic requirements is you have to have a current CPR card from the American Heart. So sometimes you'll see people pretty quickly upload that CPR card because most everybody has that.
Yeah.
That's probably the easiest thing to get there. And then we kind of watch it, and then you'll see somebody go get Stop the Bleed. So I think people make the application. Some people don't do anything. We have a few people that haven't done anything with it. It's just sitting there.
Okay.
And then we've got other people that are actively putting things in all the time and they're actively working on it. So I suspect we'll have some people who started it and they filled out the application, didn't really upload anything and decided not to do it. They'll probably expire in 12 months. And then we're going to have other people that we do have other people finishing it. So, and we send little, we know who's in the application process. So we send them encouraging emails and we offer for them to call us if they have any questions. And people do, they email and call from time to time. And so we
Cool.
try to have touch points. So, hey, did you forget about your EDvantage application? Don't leave that hanging. It's a really low investment that I think has a really high return for the student.
How cool is that? A great way to stand out. So I love this idea. I love this idea. So, well, cool. I really appreciate you sharing that information with me. And people are always asking me, how do I get the job? How do I stand out? So I think that's a good way to do that.
Well, I'm so glad we got to talk about it.
Yeah, no, I'm super excited. I heard this and I was like, oh, what a great idea. And what a cool idea for you guys, because you guys are establishing relationships with these guys.
Yeah, we want them to get certified eventually, of course.
Of course. What are the advantages so if you were talking to when you're talking to new student nurses, what do you tell them are the advantages of getting certified and being a certified nurse in your specialty, whatever the specialty may be?
Yeah, we tell them that it's first of all, it sets you apart from other people who aren't certified. We believe that certified nurses have validated their knowledge. I know there's an argument out there that just because somebody's certified doesn't mean they're a better nurse, but it does mean that you've validated your knowledge base and you've studied and you're demonstrating that you're dedicated to taking care of your patients and you're dedicated to your career and you want to be the best you can be. So, the advantages are for the nurse are the self-confidence, the self-efficacy. They have more career opportunities, and we have research to back this up. I'm not just talking out of the top of my head, but they have more career opportunities. They get chosen for special projects more often, promotions more often. They make on average $1,500 more a year, and that's low now. I mean, that's 4 years old data. Yeah. We're gonna repeat this research in another year.
Nice.
But they make more money. And then, it's very difficult to find a lot of studies, especially in the ED, that really deal with certification and patient outcomes. But with patient outcomes, there have been studies done that show certified nurses can lower mortality, lower infection rates, lower fall rates. So we do have some research that links specialty certification to patient outcomes. And so, we fully believe that certified nurses, we find them to be more engaged and more expert. And that's good for patients. That's good for patients' families. That's good for organizations. And that's good for the teams you work on.
Writing myself some notes. Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And I think one of the biggest things, like with you, where you said, you were studying for certification and you were kind of going, there's something here.
Yeah.
And so I did an interview, I don't know, I think it was last year with Pam Bartley talking about certification because of course
That interview. That was a good interview.
and it was a great interview. And it was like, it was one of those things. And one of the things we talked about is the fact that like half the win in getting your certification is studying for your certification and learning stuff to get ready for it. And that stuff sticks with you.
It does.
It may make a difference in one patient's outcome. And if it does, you just earned your certification and valued it beyond measure. So
Absolutely.
that's cool. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can tell I'm a big fan of certifications also. Now, I'm not going to be one of the ones that get all five. How many people have all five?
43.
I think we have one now that's got all five, but we got a bunch that have four.
Yeah.
And she was like, well, what, she was like, because she heard through social media, they're like, oh yeah, like who are, there's the high five, the people who have all fives and all five. And I was like, okay.
Working on something to recognize people with all five, but I can't say what it is because I don't think we actually know yet, but it is in the works.
I love that. Boy, I got to tell you, Pam is out beating the drum for that every single day.
Yes.
Which is super cool. And I always told her, I said I won't be one of those, but I plan to have, by the end of the year, I plan to have 3, and by the end of next year, I'll plan to have 4. Well, I can't thank you enough for spending the time talking to me.
Well, thank you for having me. I really had fun.
I really appreciate it. I've had a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun, and definitely keep in touch. Let me know if there's anything I can do for you guys. I'm a big fan. Big fan of the organization, and certainly have maintained certification. Though I got to tell you, I let my CEN lapse. I think at the end of last year, I had a lapse in my CEN because I moved and was like, all of a sudden I looked and I was like, oh, that expired. Oh crap! But like as soon as I found out it expired, I was like, I got to go get it again because I pride myself on telling people I'm a CEN. Like I want to be able to say that.
Me too. I know. I get it.
And so I was like, okay, I gotta go take the exam again. And I was like, that's fine. I gotta go take the exam again. That's all right. And I've taught the CEN, taught reviews of the CEN through our organization forever, and taught different pieces of it. So I was like, okay, I'm pretty confident I'll be okay. And sure enough, I went and took the test, but it's a hard test. That test is no joke. And
no, it's not. It is hard.
And the pass rates make it a little daunting. But one of the things, so we just did a CEN review, an in-house CEN review not that long ago. And one of the questions that came up, I'm like, what questions do you guys have about the CEN? I said, if I can't answer them, I'll get answers. And one of the questions that came up, they're like, well, I heard the pass rate's really low. And I go, you want the pass rate to not be easy. Like you don't want the exam to be easy. And I go, but the reality is, I go, you want to know why the pass rate's low? I go, this is just Kevin's opinion and not based on fact at all. But the test rate's low because so many nurses are like, I've been a nurse for 10 years, I'll be fine. And I go, so many nurses go in there and they're like, I don't need to study, I'll be okay. I'm smart. I've seen that before. And I'm like, but you're in New Mexico and you haven't seen a jellyfish, and there might be a jellyfish question. I don't know. And you haven't seen those.
Right.
So, and I go, you can't this isn't the kind of test you can just go in and wing.
No.
And too many ER nurses, I think, try that.
You may be right. It's not an easy test. You are right about that.
And you don't want it to be an easy test.
No.
Like, I don't want, like, I want to know that there's smart people that struggle with that test. And I want to know there's people who don't pass it. Like, if everyone passes it, the what's the value?
Right.
That's just my opinion.
That's right.
But I think so I've done the CEN. I used to carry the CPEN and then I let it go. But like I told you, I'm gonna get that back before the end of the year. And then the TCRN. And the TCRN I did with the beta, and that was a tough test.
Yeah, it is. It's a hard one too.
Yeah, that was a tough test. So, so that one's like I'm not gonna let that one lapse because I don't want to take that one again.
I hear you.
So, but next on the horizon will be CPEN and then CTRN. So,
cool. That's great.
I'm excited. So, thank you, ma'am. And I will be talking to you soon.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you so much.
Talk to you later. Thanks for your time.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the Art of Emergency Nursing podcast. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast and follow us on Facebook.